Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we have a really unique mission. We're cracking open a massive sociological survey,
That's right.
one designed to map out the deepest elements of individual identity, specifically among Iranians. This isn't about, headlines or surface-level stuff. It's about the psychology of self, really.
Absolutely. Deeper structure.
And when we talk about individual identity, we need a framework,
Yeah.
right? We see it as complex, multi-layered. It's that feeling of, relative permanence, that core sense of self. Even when our behaviors, our thoughts, they're constantly changing.
Kind of like the ideas from, say, Erickson or Glasser.
Exactly. Identity formed in that emotional fire of success and failure, interaction with others.
Right. And identity is never formed in a vacuum. Our sources really confirm that. It's shaped by the whole social ecosystem.
The whole picture.
Values, family, even the current political and economic situation.
Yeah.
The researchers here, they really wanted to pin down the elements shared within Iranian society, but also those things that mark it as distinct from, other societies globally.
So how did they go about mapping this complex terrain? It sounds like a huge undertaking.
It was serious work. We're talking findings from a major survey, about 1,300 people,
Wow.
aged 15 and up, across different provincial centers. And crucially, they used advanced stats, factor analysis specifically.
Factor analysis.
Okay.
Explain that a bit.
Think of it like a statistical drill. It helps you find the deep core components, the underlying structure.
Got it. So finding what makes up this Iranian individual identity, as they put it.
Exactly.
So, okay, if we accept identity as this complex thing,
Yeah.
what did the survey actually, uncover when they crunched the numbers? Let's unpack that map.
Well, the first big thing is just how complex it is. They didn't find 3 or 4 simple things driving it.
Right.
The analysis pointed to 13 distinct core factors shaping individual identity. 13. And together, this detailed framework explains almost 70% of the variance in how people define themselves. It was 68.88% to be precise.
Nearly 70%. That's a lot of explanatory power from these 13 factors.
It really is. It shows just how many forces are pulling and pushing inside.
13 factors, though. That's a lot to absorb. It must range quite a bit. Can you maybe walk us through some? I imagine it goes way beyond just, say, faith or nationality.
Oh, absolutely. They sort of fall into maybe 3 rough buckets. You've got the traditional, the digital, and the psychological.
Okay.
So in the traditional and cultural bucket, you have things like the importance of religion or faith, traditional values, naturally. Also, the importance of national rituals, think Nowruz, Charshambi Suri, and then ethnic culture, and importantly, ethnic homeland or territory.
Right, the connection to place.
Yeah.
What about the digital side?
That gave us 2 big ones. The role of virtual space, online life, and mass communications or collective communication.
Makes sense. And the psychological? That sounds interesting.
Yeah, these are more abstract. Things like individual differentiation, how people see themselves as unique. Emotional differentiation, too. And even perfectionism, the Farsi term is kamalgare. These are about how individuals sort of separate themselves, strive for self-improvement. It's a really granular map.
That distinction feels important. Identity isn't just external stuff like customs or where you live. It's also these deep psychological drives like perfectionism layered right in.
Exactly. And we also need to pull apart something crucial within the sort of national factors. The researchers found 2 separate elements here.
Okay.
One is Iran orientation, or Iran gray. That's about loyalty to the culture, the history, the actual land of Iran.
Okay, cultural and territorial loyalty.
Right. The other one is national orientation, nationalism, meligare. That's more about loyalty to the political idea, the nation state.
Ah, I see. Related but definitely distinct forces operating on the psyche.
Precisely.
So given those 13 drivers, that's a complex picture. Did any rise to the top? Did the analysis show which ones have, more influence than others?
Yes, absolutely. This is where it gets really focused. The analysis found 3 factors have significantly greater weight.
And they are.
Importance of ethnic homeland territory, traditional values, and mass communications.
Land, tradition, and media. Wow. That's quite a mix.
It is.
What does that tell us? That the physical connection to the land, the homeland, ranks so high, right next to deep-rooted traditions, but also alongside instant global information via mass media.
Well, stepping back a bit, the immediate thought is friction and fusion, maybe. These 3 dominant forces are really different types of loyalty, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Homeland and traditional values are like anchors. They ground identity in history, place, things passed down. Mass communications, though, that's a force for rapid change, global influence, sometimes destabilizing change.
Right. Constant novelty.
Huh. So the fact that these three are the strongest, it suggests that identity formation right now is maybe caught in a kind of sociological tug of war.
The past versus the present, battling it out inside the individual.
Pretty much. And the outcome shapes who you feel you are.
That makes a lot of sense. These aren't just descriptions, they're active pressures, which actually leads us perfectly into the next part, slicing the data by demographics. Because that's where you really see these tensions play out, right?
Yeah.
Let's start with the gender.
Yes. Yeah.
This is where, for me, it got really fascinating. The study found significant differences based on gender. Let's talk about traditional values first.
Okay. The difference there in how important traditional values are seen to be between men and women. It wasn't just slight, it was statistically significant, meaning women showed a measurably lower score regarding the importance of traditional values compared to men.
Lower for women. Okay.
And the research paper itself points this out quite clearly. They suggest this gap signals a potential deep shift happening.
A shift in what way?
Well, the implication is that this divergence could lead to, and I think they use the phrase considerable changes and challenges down the line.
Right.
In women's worldview, their relationship with traditional structures, it seems the hold of those values might be weakening faster or more deeply for women.
That alone points to potentially huge cultural changes coming. But here's the paradox, the thing that really jumped out at me.
Yes.
Men scored significantly higher than women on two factors related to modern communication.
That's right, the role of virtual space and mass communications.
And this wasn't marginal either, right? Highly statistically significant, the study said.
Extremely robust findings, yes. Sig equals 0.000, basically as significant as it gets in these kinds of studies.
So hang on. Men are the stronger supporters of traditional values, the anchor to the past. And they're also the more engaged users of new media, virtual spaces, mass comms.
That's the data. That's the core puzzle here.
It seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
You have to ask why. If we often associate digital life with, say, liberalization or exposure to new ideas,
Yeah.
why are the most digitally engaged, the men, also the most traditional?
It's a great question, and it suggests that maybe digital saturation isn't a simple one-way street towards liberalization for everyone.
So what could be happening?
Well, if you think about broader trends, it's possible, and this is interpretation, of course,
Sure.
that men might be using these virtual spaces not just for, say, dissent or finding totally new ideas, but maybe as a really effective tool for reinforcement.
Reinforcement of tradition.
Yes. Or curation,
Yeah.
communicating, organizing, maybe even, policing existing traditional narratives within their own online and offline communities. The tech becomes a tool for tradition, not necessarily against it.
A shield, not just a battering ram. That's a really critical interpretation. New media lets ideas spread globally, sure, but also lets groups organize and maintain their own cultural cohesion much faster, much more effectively than before.
It can weaponize coordination, in a sense.
Okay, let's shift gears now from gender to ethnicity. The study really shows how identity isn't uniform across the country, how different ethnic groups prioritize different elements. It's like identity formation is taking multiple paths.
Exactly. This part confirms that Iranian identity isn't some single monolithic thing. You see clear differences in how groups relate to the political state versus, say, local culture, their specific territory, or faith.
Can you give some specific examples? Where did the differences really show up?
Okay, take Iran orientation, remember, that's loyalty to the history and territory, the cultural nation.
Right, Iran.
Kurds ranked highest on that measure with a score of 27.37. Arabs, on the other hand, ranked lowest at 15.60.
So for Kurdish communities, that geographic and cultural loyalty seems particularly strong based on this data.
It suggests that yes. Then look at faith and ritual.
How did that play out across groups?
Well, it splits. Measuring the importance of religion, Kurds again ranked highest, 29.19. But when the researchers look specifically at importance of national rituals, things like Nowruz that are more broadly Iranian Arabs ranked highest there, 33.74.
Interesting. So different ways of expressing cultural belonging being prioritized.
Yeah.
Religion versus national custom.
Exactly. And remember that top 3 driver we talked about? Attachment to territory?
Ethnic homeland territory. Yes. How did that vary?
That's a powerful one. The Lurs ranked highest on that factor with a score way up at 42.11.
42. That's significantly higher.
It really is. It's a potent reminder that identity isn't just abstract politics for many people. It's literally about the ground under their feet, that deep connection to a specific place.
So we see these clear, measurable differences, different groups emphasizing different things, the nation, religion, the local homeland. But does the study suggest these loyalties are clashing inside people? Or do individuals find ways to hold them together?
This is maybe the most crucial finding on the ethnic integration question, and it's actually quite hopeful, I'd say. Despite all these measurable differences between groups, the analysis suggests that for most individuals they surveyed, there's actually a kind of harmony and adaptation going on
Harmony between what?
between their ethnic identity, their national identity, and their religious identity elements. At the individual level, these loyalties aren't necessarily seen as contradictory or competing.
So they're layered, but unified within the self.
That seems to be the suggestion. People manage to integrate these different strands.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful. A really deep look at what makes up the modern self in a very complex society. We started by framing identity as dynamic, always changing, then laid out this new map, the 13 factors, dominated by that tension between land, tradition, and media.
Right. And we dug into that significant gender split, didn't we? Women scoring lower on traditional values, pointing to a big future shift.
And that paradox, men's high use of virtual space alongside their stronger embrace of traditional structures. Still puzzling over that one.
It's a key tension. And finally, we explored ethnicity, that patchwork of loyalties, how groups have distinct attachments, faith, ritual, homeland, but seem to mostly synthesize these layers harmoniously within themselves.
So the final takeaway.
I think the final synthesis is clear. The elements shaping individual identity in Iran today are incredibly diverse. They're dynamic, they're pluralistic. You've got ancient history, national pride, religious belief.
All the deep stuff.
All the deep stuff, but now it's irrevocably tangled up with the immediate pervasive presence of new digital technology, of social media, of virtual space.
That dynamic tension, the old and the new constantly interacting, it leaves us with a really provocative question for you, the listener, to think about. Given this data showing men are significantly higher users of new media and significantly stronger proponents of traditional values than women, how might this digital saturation actually work to preserve or even reinforce some core traditional cultural structures in Iran, instead of just destabilizing them?
Right. Could technology in some ways be helping to maintain tradition for certain groups?
What might you predict for the future of this digital tradition in the next generation? Something to mull over.